Berlin, May 1945. The capital of the Third Reich lies in ruins. 80% of the city center is destroyed. 400 million cubic meters of rubble fill the streets. This is the apocalypse, made by human hands. In the ashes of defeat, a question emerges. Who will rebuild Germany? The men are gone, dead, imprisoned, or missing. The answer comes not from generals or politicians, but from the women left behind. They would be called the Trümmerfrauen, the rubble women. For decades they were celebrated as the heroines who rebuilt Germany with their bare hands. But the truth is far more complicated. May 8, 1945. Germany surrenders unconditionally. The war is over, but survival has just begun. Berlin's population has collapsed from 4.3 million to 3.2 million. Most of them are women, children, and the elderly. 60% are women. They face a city without water, without electricity, without hope. In the first weeks after surrender, there are no organized work crews. There is only desperation. Women dig through the ruins, searching for anything: food, clothing, photographs of the dead. Every brick moved reveals another tragedy. These hands once held children, played piano, wrote letters. Now they carry bricks. Housing is catastrophic. 500,000 apartments are completely destroyed. Another million are damaged. Families live in cellars, in ruins, under staircases. The winter of 1945 will be one of the coldest in German history. Germany is divided into 4 occupation zones: American, British, French, and Soviet. Each zone issues ration cards. The official ration? 1,000 calories per day, barely enough to survive. Starvation is not a memory. It is a daily reality. By summer 1945, the Allied authorities realize the rubble must be cleared. The question is how, and by whom. In June 1945, the first organized clearing operations begin. The call goes out. Women are needed for reconstruction. The work is brutal. The pay is minimal. But there is one powerful incentive: extra rations. Heavy worker status means an additional slice of bread, perhaps a potato. When you are starving, this is everything. Women between 15 and 50 are required to register for work assignments. Refusal means losing ration cards entirely. For many, there is no choice. The work is organized in brigades. Human chains form across the rubble fields. One woman loosens the bricks with a hammer. Another carries them in a basket. A third sorts them, damaged or salvageable. Hour after hour, day after day, every brick must be cleaned by hand, mortar chipped away with small hammers. The bricks will be reused. Germany has no resources to waste. The sound of hammers becomes the soundtrack of reconstruction. Tap, 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 tap. At the peak, in 1946, an estimated 60,000 women work in Berlin alone. They work 10-hour days, 6 days a week, in summer heat and winter cold. There are no proper work boots, no safety equipment, no gloves. Injuries are common. A woman drops a brick on her foot. She continues working. A piece of rebar pierces a hand. She wraps it and continues. Stopping means losing pay. Losing pay means hunger. But there are moments of grace. A shared cigarette. A joke that makes everyone laugh. Friendships form in the dust. These women are not just clearing rubble. They are creating community in the ruins. And sometimes, just sometimes, a woman places a flower in a window frame. A small act of defiance against the destruction. Life continues. Fast forward to 1954. West Germany is rebuilding its identity. The narrative crystallizes. Brave German women rebuilt the nation with their bare hands. Monuments are erected. Speeches are given. The Trümmerfrauen become legends. The image is powerful. The rubble woman with her headscarf and determined expression. She is politically useful, a symbol of German victimhood and resilience. But symbols often obscure truth. In the 1990s and 2000s, historians begin asking uncomfortable questions. How many women actually worked in rubble clearing? What percentage of the workforce did they represent? The research reveals a more complex picture. In Berlin, yes, women made up a significant portion of rubble clearers, perhaps 40% at the peak in 1946. But across Germany? The numbers tell a different story. By 1947, professional construction workers return to the job. Machines arrive, bulldozers, trucks, cranes. The rubble women are gradually phased out. Many worked for only a few months, not years. And here is the inconvenient truth. Much of the heavy clearing was done by men. German POWs returning from captivity, forced laborers, displaced persons. In some cities, these men outnumbered women 10 to 1. The experience also varied dramatically by zone. In the Soviet sector of Berlin, mandatory labor assignments were stricter. Women worked longer and under harsher conditions. In the Western zones, the work was more voluntary and more temporary. So why the myth? Why does the image of the rubble woman dominate German memory? Because it served a purpose. For West Germany, the Trümmerfrauen represented a clean story. Germans as victims, Germans as hard workers, Germans building democracy from ruins. It avoided harder questions about guilt, about complicity. For East Germany, the story fit communist ideology. The working class, especially women, building socialism. Same symbol, different meaning. The problem isn't honoring their work. The problem is when honor becomes mythology, and mythology erases everyone else. Dear Mother, I've been assigned to rubble clearing on Friedrichstrasse. The work is hard, but at least we get extra bread. My hands are bleeding, but I think of Father and I keep working. Your loving daughter, Anneliese. Berlin, August 1945. Anneliese was 19 when she wrote this letter. She worked for 4 months clearing rubble. Then she found work in a factory. Better pay, safer conditions. She lived until 1998. She rarely spoke about those months. In the Soviet zone, the reality was often grimmer. Sexual violence was common. Fear was constant. The women worked not just for food, but for protection. Working in groups was safer than being alone. In a 1987 interview, one former rubble woman said, "We did what we had to do. Not for Germany, not for ideology, for our children, so they would have a place to sleep, so they would have something to eat." This is the truth beneath the monuments. The Trümmerfrauen were not heroes or victims. They were human beings navigating impossible circumstances. Mothers who worked so their children wouldn't starve. Widows who worked to fill empty hours. Young women who worked because they had no other choice. And slowly, very slowly, the city transforms. By 1950, most major streets are cleared. Buildings rise. The immediate crisis passes. The rubble women move on. Some to factories, some to homes as they rebuild families. Some emigrate, leaving Germany forever. Today, Berlin is a vibrant city of 3.7 million people. The ruins are gone. The scars are invisible, unless you know where to look. So what should we remember? Not mythology, but truth. The Trümmerfrauen were part of Reconstruction, not all of it. Their work mattered, but so did the work of others, men, POWs, forced laborers. We can honor their contribution without inflating it. We can recognize their suffering without weaponizing it. We can remember them as they were, complex, human, resilient. Gertrude, Maria, Elfriede, Anneliese, and thousands whose names we'll never know. They didn't rebuild Germany alone, but they were there, in the dust and the cold, passing bricks, hammering mortar, surviving. The war made them rubble women. History made them symbols, but they were always more than that. They were people, and that's how they deserve to be remembered.